Hi there, welcome to the English Like a Native podcast. I'm your host, Anna, and this is your 5 a day. The first on our list is the noun fist. Fist. A fist is a hand that's closed with all your fingers and your thumb folded tightly in. So there are a number of times when we make a fist. The first thing that comes to mind is when we are angry. When we're angry, we make a fist. Sometimes people will use their fist as a weapon to punch with. A fist. Or you might make a fist when you are trying to get that thing through that hole. So if you're trying to push something into a hole that's a little bit too small, a bit too tight, you might use your fist like a hammer to bang, bang, bang it into place. Or, less violently, when you go to knock on someone's door, you make a fist to then knock. Now this brings me on to our next word, which is another noun, and it is the word knuckle. Knuckle. This starts with the letter K, but that is silent. How useful our English language is. So knuckle has an N sound, but starts with a K. Knuckle. Your knuckle is, well, you have many knuckles. They are the joints in your fingers. So where your fingers bend, you have all these knuckles. And the knuckles we tend to talk about are the ones where your fingers join to your hands. So we have these very prominent joints, don't we? At the base of our fingers, on the backs of our hands. And this is what you may hurt if you do use your fist as a weapon and punch something. You might really bruise or, damage the skin on your knuckles. There's a lovely phrase, which isn't on my list, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. I say lovely. That's a terrible way to describe this phrase. What's going on with me? The phrase I'm going to share with you, forget that I said it was lovely. The phrase is a knuckle sandwich. Goodness me, Anna, why did I say that was lovely? A knuckle sandwich is another way of saying you're going to punch someone in the face. I'm going to give you a knuckle sandwich, like you're going to chew on someone's knuckles. Okay, so number 3 on the list is scrape. To scrape. This is a verb. And this means to remove the covering on something by rubbing something else against it. For example, I often scrape the leftovers, the food that's left over on a plate. I will scrape that into the little food waste bin. So I scrape the plates before I put them into the dishwasher. And we can talk about scraping our knees or our elbows or our knuckles if we're not being very careful. My sons are always scraping their knees and their elbows. Number 4 on the list is a noun, and it is adrenaline. Adrenaline. Adrenaline is a hormone that rushes through your body to prepare you for physical activity. So we often have adrenaline when we're feeling scared or when we're feeling like we're nervous or anxious about something that's about to happen, like a race or some sort of physical activity. If you have any kind of stress, there's usually an adrenaline response. Or if you're scared of going to talk to someone about something really challenging, you might feel that adrenaline hormone running through your body. And it makes you sweat, and it makes your heart race fast, and it makes your rate of breathing speed up. So you get that adrenaline, like, oh, I've got to have this really tough conversation with my boss. I need to tell them that I've lost £1 million of the business's money. How scary. Or I'm about to run a marathon. I'm just getting warmed up. I can feel the adrenaline. I'm ready to go. When was the last time you had that rush of adrenaline? Next is the adverb furiously. Furiously. If you're furious, then you're very angry. So if you do something furiously, then you do it in a very angry way. Stop it, she said furiously. Okay, that was our 5. So let's recap. Number 1, fist. Number 2, knuckle. Number 3, to scrape. Number 4, adrenaline. Number 5, furiously. Wow, there was a lot of nouns in today's list. Well, let's put them all together in a little story, or an extract of a story. As he walked down the dark alley, John could feel his heart pounding in his chest. He knew he was taking a risk, but he had no choice. He needed the money, and he needed it fast. Suddenly, he heard footsteps behind him, and he turned around just in time to see a burly man barreling towards him. Without thinking, John balled his fist and aimed for the man's jaw. He felt his knuckles connect with bone, and the man stumbled back, dazed. But he recovered quickly, and soon they were grappling, fists flying furiously. In the scuffle, John scraped his knee on a loose piece of metal, but he barely felt it. All he could think about was survival. Eventually, he managed to break free and run down the alley, heart still pounding, adrenaline still coursing through his veins. He didn't stop until he was miles away, safe at last. Well, I hope you found this episode useful. If you would like to support this podcast in any way, then you can by leaving a rating or a review so that other listeners can find us. Or you could go a step further and become a Plus member. Plus members get access to bonus podcast material. All the details will be in the show notes. Thank you for joining me. Until next time, take care and goodbye.